Hello there, it's me, Sari here again, and today I'm here to show you a couple of angel themed cards where I have used the beautiful die from Cheery Lynn. It's a purple die, so it's easy to recognize when you are shopping. And this is the first card that I made. I actually came to make four exactly like this one on a craft event I was at the last weekend. And I started out die cutting these wings and I sort of fell in love with them. You know, I have had this die for quite some time, but I haven't really known what to do with it. And on this craft event that Vilda Stamps actually was the leader of, let's say so, they had a challenge where you were supposed to make something for the Dennis Angel project. I haven't been talking too much about that in English before, but this is the thing, Dennis Angel project. And in this case I just decided on making lots of cards for this charity where we are collecting money to help the violated women and children in the Congo. And there is so much to do, and well, we are sort of helping out Dr. Denis Mukwege with this project, and Usha Deminger is the leader of the pack, let's say. And she makes beautiful woolen angels, and there are lots of crafty people that want to make either handmade cards perhaps, or even bracelets and such. So there's lots of room for improvement in that area really. But I wanted to just go here, show you this thing that I made with these, you know, I'm sort of losing my thread here, so I had better just stick to what I had thought of talking about before. So in this case I started out with the wings, and I decided on using that stamp that I designed for Vilda Stamps. It is this big from the start, but I have stamped it on a piece of shrink plastic with StazOn ink, because StazOn ink really dries quickly on plastic and slicky surfaces and such. So this one says, "There are angels both in heaven and on earth, and you are one of them." So one might think that someone likes this card, wants to pay for it, and then sends it to somebody, or perhaps keeps it to oneself. I really don't care what happens with the card. I'm just interested in helping Usha out with her project, getting more money to the Congo so the women and children can get helped, and as well as the nurses and everybody there can do their job properly. So what have I done with this one? Well, the wings are from Cheery Lynn, I have said that before. And this shape here, which I have die cut the shrink plastic with, is a die from Spellbinders, and it's called Labels 25, and it's rather a small size that I've used there. This beautiful bit here is a set of dies from Spellbinders, and let's see if I can find it here so you can see it. It looks like this. So it has got several dies to make these beautiful shapes, and in this case this one is called Gold Majesty Circles, and the dies are actually of a golden color, so they do what they say, Spellbinders. They actually make the dies to go with their names or their different kinds of branches or brands. So this is some kind of a exclusive set, but it just turns out really beautifully. This one is rather easy to die cut, and it does the embossing without the embossing mats, or at least when I did this I didn't have to struggle too much. So what did I do after that? Well, I colored this one in with some distress ink. I chose some sort of a blue hue, which I inked in with a blending tool, and then I just took a brown hue of distress ink and just dragged it all over the die cut and it hit those raised bits. I then took a water brush and just blended those two colors in, and I sort of got this patina looking thing. So the green and the brown sort of turned green, and I sort of like that look actually. So there are still some brown bits here and there, and well, most of it is actually blended. And to finish things off, I just used a little bit of Inca Gold just to make it shimmer like lovely like that. I glued down a couple of roses, and I think that's basically it. I used a craft card base, and I made it as a standing card like that, so it can actually stand on its own like so. So having done this, I thought that I would actually continue making these cards, and I wanted to play around with the different kinds of beautiful background dies that I had with me. So I went on and I used another die from Spellbinders. This one is called Decorative Accents, and this one is combined with the labels 41. So those two could actually work together, so you can actually get the centerpieces going and everything. And I just colored this one in with a blue hue. I'm not sure which blue distress ink this was, but it's a sort of turquoise themed thing there. I also used the die as a stencil while the stencil die was still sitting on the paper, and I colored this background piece in, and I also got some ink on these bits here, so it actually makes it vivid and living, nice looking like that. I still kept the wings white because I hadn't thought of anything else. Also the same stamp will go with all of these cards, and the same labels 25 there. And in this case I just kept put a white rose there, nothing fancy really, but the roses are actually from Wild Orchid Crafts, but I didn't want to overdo things. And let's see, what else have I done here? Well, I did go further. I wanted to try out another beautiful square frame thing here. And one thing you should think about while you are die cutting with dies for Spellbinders, especially these intricate ones, you do need to get yourself a metal plate. A metal plate will increase the pressure between the rollers in that die cutting machine, but somehow you might need even more pressure. So I'm using mostly a sheet of 300 grams watercoloring paper. That sort of does the trick, and I have to go through once or twice, even thrice sometimes. So you mustn't give up, because the end result is rather fantastic when you get that thing out. So use a bit of sturdy paper. This one is also the 300 gram watercoloring paper that I'm talking about. I seem to use it a lot because I do like to die cut things out of it, and I do like the structure of the paper. It's just beautiful in my mind. So when it came to these cards, I had started getting another idea in my head, and I just started coloring the wings up with distressed stain, and in this case it's the brushed pewter. I also, well, let's see, what are these squares called? Let's see, it's called Floral Assortment. Floral Assortment, this one is called. And then the centerpiece here, it's a sprightly sprocket from Spellbinders also, and that I colored in with some tarnished brass. It's another from the Metallic Stain series. And I kept these cards really simple. The same thing goes for the die cut with the stamp. But what I did with these, I did color them in with the brushed pewter, but I also inked up the edges with some VersaFine black ink, and I sooted it, let's say, with just a bit of a kitchen sponge. It's rather soft, and it gives me a really nice soft muted look like that. So having done this, well, I did have another idea that I wanted to try out, so I went for another beautiful square. Just there you have the square thing, and that one is called Captivating Squares, Decorative Elements. And at first I had thought of just putting one on a piece of a card, but then I just started playing around with it, and I thought, what would it be like if I just had two of these shapes, which I had sooted the edges of in the same fashion with the VersaFine Onyx black ink with that sponge. And I really thought that Easy peasy, clean and simple, but it still does make an effect. And in this case I have used another die to cut out this circle or the centerpiece there out of shrink plastic. This one is from Spellbinders also, and I believe that is the Labels 20. So my tip to you is that if you are going to do some die cutting out of shrink plastic, go for solid shapes that are easy to get out. You shouldn't go for shapes like this, because then you're going to have a really hard time getting them out. And I had actually rolled the shrink plastic bit and the die 3 times before I actually took it out, because I don't want the shrink plastic to crack or just mess with me. So in this case I just kept things simple. We are still in the silvery theme, and now it's time actually to show you what I learned yesterday. And it was Usha Deminger, also the founder of the Dennis Angel project. She told me when I had started working on this card, I have used a cogwheel sort of a corner die from Memory Box there. And here is something else. It's a party banner, I believe, from Lawn Fawn, perhaps, which I had done into sort of a pattern piece of paper with some splotches and everything. And she said that while I was playing with these without the wings, she said, Sari, you should go for some brown wings. And I thought, brown? I wasn't really in that mood for brown wings, but I thought, let's indulge Usha and see what she has set her mind upon. So I chose to pick out a Distress Stain bottle, Vintage Photo, and I thought I'd show you what this could look like. Because I was rather amazed by the result. So hold your horses. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. And perhaps I ought to have some white paper underneath or something, because I do want you to see the result of this, because I was absolutely amazed. I'm telling you, amazed. So let's see. So what I did, this is pre-colored with that brushed pewter, and I have sooted the edges. So nothing more fancy there. And then I'm just dragging this on, easy peasy with the stain bottle, you see. Just dabbing it a little bit, and I'm letting those do its work. And what I'm seeing is absolutely fantastic. So while this one takes a couple of minutes to dry, somehow the silver and the brown makes this beautiful combo. And it sort of makes me want to go for a steampunky project or something with this. This is just absolutely beautiful. I'm getting sort of a, I don't know what this is called. Beautiful, magnificent, fantastic. That's what it's called in my book. Because I have never seen anything like this. And just by accident I came up with this. So imagine making some steampunky projects. Go for brushed pewter and Vintage Photo, and you can't go wrong really. Just imagine having colored a couple of cogwheels or something with that color. Just beautiful. So brown wings, why not? Thank you, Usha, for that. I'm signing off right now. Bye bye.